Star Wars Acolyte Episode 6. Let's just recap really quick, okay?
We're going to quickly recap.
So apparently they were trying to have significant developments occur with intense scenes. You have May and Osha. They switch places now. So the bad girls with the good guy and the good girls with the bad guy. And there was a lot of like really bad acting happening. And they were trying to like, here's what annoyed me. So they kept hinting at stuff. So like Soul's hugging May and he thinks that it's Osha and he's like,
It was the worst acting of the best character.
It was terrible. And then you have and then as you have criticizing Acolyte,
the second sexualization of men, even though they're like, oh, you sexualize women so much, and it's like, are you? You know, it's not, you don't just go and like make a show where you're like, oh, now we're going to show dude nips all the time. Like, what is going on?
Well, so they keep saying, like, a lot of the people that are reviewing are kind of, you know, are being negative about it. And so one of the defenses is, well, of course you don't like it. It's made for kids. Is it though? Because now you have not just a Jedi topless, which is like, okay, fine, which it didn't make any sense and was completely pointless and
completely
shoved
unnecessary.
In there. Completely unnecessary. But now you have full on naked guy and he goes skinny dipping, but it's like, oh, we wanted to show this, we wanted to show his his scar, we wanted to show his scar. Okay, fine. Like what? Like
Ezra Miller,
so Keanu many ways Reeves. That you could have done this. Low rent Ezra Miller has a scar.
It's oh man, is he a beaten dog? Do I need to save him? Is that what he needs? Does he need saving?
It gets super emo, and it's like, oh, well, he's not such a bad guy. He literally murdered Jedi last week. So then we get this really intense scene because it's like, oh, I have your lightsaber, and by the way, she steals his lightsaber. He totally knows because he's in the water, because he's like superpower, you know, Sith, even though Soul still hasn't figured anything out yet. And has apparently no abilities.
Soul's having a hell of a day.
And you know she's not going to kill him, so it's not like an intense scene. It's just this really, again, a really contrite and boring, poorly acted scene. You're just like, oh my gosh.
This is the second time also in just as many episodes where a Jedi or somebody with a lightsaber and the ability to do so does not kill him when left in a vulnerable position. And both times he's like, why don't you just go ahead and kill me? And they're both like, but I mean, I want to, but I'm not gonna. Oh,
I'll do it. I would, though. I would.
Oh, but I'm still upset about something. Boo. And you know that.
Yeah, so ridiculous. And then we have this lady. Oh my God. So we have this lady who is the worst actress I have ever seen in anything in life. And so she's on so you saw the part where she's on the moon and showed off her cool.
Oh, the whip.
Her flaccid lightsaber.
Yeah, it really was weird because like when it looked so unnatural. And I don't even know how you explain that with how they've broken down how the kyber crystal and the lightsaber works. I don't know how you even explain that, like, oh, well, hers is a whip and sometimes it gets longer and also it gets floppy. It's like, wait, what?
Well, so there is
and was it purple? Because Samuel L. Jackson is going to be a little upset.
Yeah. Well, purple has been a thing. So there is some lore.
Oh, okay.
There is some lore. I think, and the lore does go back before Disney. This is actually an image, I think, from Disney. But the lore of the Star Wars whip does go back quite a bit. We saw Star Wars whip in Return of the Sith. Except that Star Wars whip was way cooler in the video last week, where it was little bits of lightsaber right in between, like a chain.
Got it. Right.
Which so as a character designer, as someone, you know, likes to like create weapons and stuff in my own books, I like that design better because like it makes more sense. There is lore that explains the whip, and then there's lore that explains why the whip went away. Here's the thing. Not everything in the lore of Star Wars is a good idea. And the Star Wars, the lightsaber whip is a very, very stupid, bad idea. I'm sorry. It's just more. Oh yeah, dude, it's just so bad.
I do not love it.
All right, so that happens. Then we have this character.
Oh man,
And
I don't know.
This was like so annoying.
I don't know. I'm kind of starting to like this guy.
I can't remember this race of character, but they did show up in the comic books and they did show up in the books. These characters actually savage. They're really, really intelligent and very good with machines. So they're very technologically advanced and are actually make great mechanics.
Oh yeah.
So, but they make this character like basically an animal, which is like lore breaking again.
Right.
He has a really good sense of smell. Like he's basically the bloodhound, and he also this race of characters can speak and can communicate. Even though apparently he hasn't done anything of communication yet, he just grunts and moans.
Yeah, he was making some chittering and noise that I was like, I don't think he's talking. And then someone like responded, and I was like, oh, I guess that's him talking. Was he a squirrel?
So he can smell that's May.
Yeah, he knew 100%. Yeah.
So he spends, I don't know how many minutes, like what, 20 minutes on the ship, like not telling the Jedi Master Soul that's not Osha.
Yeah, he had the chance prior to her waking up.
So like more bad writing, like there's so many, like why wouldn't this character who's small and probably a little bit vulnerable to, you know, an assassin acolyte, not go, hey, Jedi Master Soul, so that chick ain't the chick that you think she is. I smell her and she smells of Sith, but you know.
Oh, put a little Sith on it. Hey, sister.
I don't know, man. So more stupidity, just a badly written, and there's no action. There's nothing. The thing that drove me the most nuts was, seriously, there's so many questions over the last 5 episodes that have been raised, right? There's just question after question, like, what about this? What about these guys? Who's this guy? What's going on with this?
What are they fucking doing?
So you think by episode 6, you might start to get some answers. Nope. So we get towards the end, no questions answered. And we have this guy welding, mind you, welding his helmet. Remember last week, his helmet is made of cortosis, which is a metal that will short out energy weapons.
You called it out because I was like, what's going on here? This seems like a bunch of bullshit. And you went, no, wait. In the EU, there is cortosis.
Yeah.
And boom.
And he's using an energy welding mechanism.
Some sort of, because the idea is
to weld his cortosis helmet.
I believe the idea is that what they're doing is that cortosis has an advantage, being that it can disrupt energy weapons, like you said last week, at weapons with kyber crystals, like a lightsaber. But why is it not interrupting his energy welder? But why is it not interrupting his energy welder? Excellent question. But I think their idea was that it's supposed to be not that strong. They wanted to make it clear that, like, it has this property that, it can turn off a lightsaber for a few seconds, but other than that, they can crack it, they can break it. It's like copper. Like it's not actually that strong, but it serves a purpose. Whereas copper, you can make, say, a Faraday cage or something, which is protection from electromagnetic interference or rays and whatnot. So they're taking that same kind of concept and dropping it onto this. But an excellent question would be raised.
Maybe it's because it's not wireless like a lightsaber. A lightsaber's wireless.
It's not wireless. He's got it's plugged in. He's got an outlet right there. Because in his cave where his tailored beautiful clothes are, he has electrical
his
outlet.
Not dirty clothes at all, not any smut while he is in this cave that has a literal sand floor.
His beautiful linen shirt that he got in Tahiti,
linen, or like
whatever it is.
So it ends on this really dramatic scene. So she's like looking like intently at this helmet, and I swear to God, it felt like millennia of her just looking at this helmet. I think it was like a 5-minute scene, and she's just like,
it was so long.
Oh my God! And then she puts it on, and then we can see that Smilo Ren can't see can't see fuck all out of his helmet, and it just ends on her in there for like what feels like forever with heavy breathing.
Yeah, and just her like heavy breathing. And the thing is that they made her breathing a little, I feel like they hit it with a little effect to give you that feeling of like almost as if you were in Darth Vader's helmet kind of a thing. They were like giving you that perspective for a second, kind of like they did in when they lowered Darth Vader's helmet down. But
what's the point? What's the point?
It would have been an interesting thematic thing had they put it on and she's breathing and maybe she kind of, she takes it off and he's just standing right there and then they cut. But it was like she's just breathing, and there's just these two tiny slits way in the distance because he can't see anything. And then they're like, and run credits. Yeah. Like, wait, what? That's what?
It's just so bad.
Where'd the rest of my episode go?
And no questions answered. I mean, I think one of the things that really kind of drove me nuts. So they really make the Sith perspective is so in this episode and in this series, the Sith perspective is so uninteresting. It's just all it is victimhood, whining, and feeling sorry for themselves. I'm so not interested in this. Like, you trying to make him sympathetic, but all I see is a little child who's 13-year-old and I'm upset that the world is not fair. And it's like, you are not even remotely. Dude. And Anakin Skywalker's story was at least interesting, even though it was poorly written and poorly executed. It was still oh, dude, he lost the love of his life and completely, totally, screwed that up. It's still vastly more interesting than whatever the hell is low rent Ezra Miller going on with him. I mean, what do you think about that?
It's completely ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous that we have to sit here and be like, wait, so we're still doing this? You're still not giving. So you want to give me 6 episodes in. You want to give me a Sith story? Give me even one tiny piece of a Darth Maul monologue from, say, the Clone Wars or something. That's a fucking Sith who has an axe to bury, who has revenge, who has straight up just passion for hatred and anger, and he enunciates it so clearly, and exactly his movies, and exactly how powerful he is. And this whole thing is a back and forth. It's like Sigmund Freud is just it's like Sithmund Freud, and he's doing a bunch of blow, and he's like, oh, why don't you tell me more about, why don't you go ahead and pick up the lightsaber? Oh, wait, no, I'm going to take a shower now. Oh, no, wait, I'm going to put on this lovely outfit. Why don't you just go ahead and mess with my helmet for a while? I'll be back to talk about it on the couch.
We're not even talking about all the Jedi, the Jedi guy in this episode. I'm not even going to talk about him. There's this one guy who's very effeminate, and it's why are all the Jedi so weak and so effeminate? What is the deal?
It was strange. The dude who talked about the hyperspace sickness, right?
Yeah.
It's why did they? This is the little Yoda walking around.
Yeah. Well, here's my biggest gripe. Okay, so I have two. I'm gonna go on a little bit of a rant. So my two biggest gripes are, number one is just that this episode was probably the worst written one. And it's the bar has been lowered so much, and they keep lowering that bar. And the two simple rules, man, your scene should either be the answer the question, basically because, or and then. So the next scene should be and then, or because. So whatever scene you have, the next thing should be and then this happened, or the next scene should be because this happened, because this happened. Though that's it. If you stuck to that, you would have a much more compelling story, but you didn't. The second thing that I'm really starting to see with the whole Acolyte Sith relationship is really her working out her own inner demons, man. Her own inner demons.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point.
Clearly got
the Sith are always just poking at your own inner demons, and they're like, look, you do have an inner demon. He wants to come to the dark side. Get him to come out.
If you don't have a good script, your crap's not going to be great. We saw that with the prequels, and we saw that with the sequels. Good Lord, man.
Salty and savage.